Okay, we're ready to. We're having a look at climbing roses, so they're a little bit different to the roses we looked at last week, the hybrid teas. These have been pruned quite well in the past, and they've got some good wires to attach them to. So the question now is, you know, what are we going to do first in order to prune this? What would you do first?
Dead.
You're going to take out any dead. What else?
Diseased or dying.
Diseased or dying. Yeah, we're going to certainly remove that. Now remember something we talked about, the trusses that have heavily cropped, they're not going to do so well. If we left that on, it would just get smaller and it just wouldn't do any good. So we're going to have to prune these back. One of the things I'm going to be looking for is to see whether or not we could possibly tie in some. That's actually a very, very good shoot, and it could be pruned back quite nicely, but unfortunately it's coming away from the wall a lot. Now if there was a deficit here, we'd be tying that in and using that as a replacement branch. But so we're going to have a look at that in a minute and see what's happening there. So there will be a difference. We are looking to remove these old trusses and thin it out. This one here, it's got a flower truss, so I'm going to prune that to an inward bud to try and keep it to the wall. So that's going for me. I'm taking that one out.
Yeah, on this side here, again an old flower truss, but also it's very spindly, so it's not going to do anything. That wants to go right back to old wood. When you're using secateurs, I did notice on the video from last week where some of you are trying to cut true to the stem, you had the blade that way around, so you couldn't do. So make sure you turn your blade round accordingly to cut as close as you can. So cut at the bottom there, got rid of that.
I've got a couple over here that I mean, it's a bit awkward to get them back on the wall. There's one that's there. I could prune to an inward facing bud there and maybe next year see if it comes up. This one, unfortunately, it's too far out. It's coming off the wall. It's going to create a problem, so I'm going to prune that one right back, nice and tight.
Might need to take this one out. It's quite right, it's not going to pull back in, so it needs to come right off down at the base. It's a lovely piece of wood, but it's going in the wrong direction. That needs to come out.
This is going to grow over the window. It's not going to be nice for the cooks, so I'm afraid I've got to take it back. I'm just looking at my secateurs. It's a little bit big for my secateurs, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch to using the loppers, and I'm going to lop that off there. I am going to keep that one in there. I quite like it. I could take that over the top. I could actually rub a few buds out. So the buds pointing this way, I could rub them out with my thumb and finger. So I can actually get them and just knock those buds out that are going to grow that way, so that any shoots will grow up and then take it across. I've just recognised that there's a nice framework, 1, 2, 3, 4, bit of a fan going across there. So I'd like to keep that. This is coming away. So unfortunately I've got to take it back. I'm going to take it back down to there initially. I've got to just chop out that, and I can see now by removing that one, removing this spindly one here, just chopping, if there's a wire, just chop either side, remove that out, and I can see there's a nice fan emerging at the back. This one's going to sort of collide into them a bit. And it's done well over the last 2 or 3 years, but I think this is one I'm afraid that I'm going to sacrifice this year to enable these replacement shoots to carry on. Again, I've got a proliferation of shoots here. It's not good for the plant. I'll just leave that one in temporarily. I'm going to remove the rest of the proliferation of shoots. I'll probably end up removing the whole lot, but if in doubt, remove a little at a time.
Yeah, over on this side, we've got a bit of a problem here. It's coming across the window, so using the loppers, that one's taking off there. I think we have to jettison all of that section from there on. Now we've got a problem here. This would actually make a decent right for a new framework, just for a while. You know, we can run it up there. Problem being, it's actually grown behind the wire. So we either take the wire off, because there's no way we're going to bend it around the front of it. The problem with it growing around the back of the wire is that you get this. That is where the wire's dug in previously. So really you shouldn't be allowing it to go behind the wire because it's going to dig in.
Over the years we have been pruning these and it's paid dividends because, as Hugh says, we've actually, it's sending up new shoots. So if you didn't do that, you really would have a problem. It would just go into this old woody stuff and you would have nothing to replace. You can see we've got quite a bit of work to do in the next sort of 5 minutes, so we'll be thinning and pruning a lot of this midsection out, and then after that obviously we can see what we're left with, and then we can reduce the height and make sure everything's back on the wall.